Hello, thanks for tuning in. It's Stuart here, the Classical Record Collector, lpclassical.co.uk. I paid a visit to a shop today in the Arnold area of Nottingham called Final Destination, and this is a report on how my visit went. So let's go and see that report. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, the shop is called Vinyl Destination. Now, I've checked around. It's not that unusual a name. There are other record shops with this name. It's obviously a play in words and a reference to the film Final Destination. So yeah, there's the shop. That's my own photograph. Yeah, I think I arrived. Yeah, I arrived at about 3 in the afternoon. I don't know whether he has the grills up all the time, but he was possibly sort of getting ready to close when I arrived. But I was in there for a good half an hour. Okay, let's just have a look at some of these pictures. Some of them are mine, some I've taken from the internet. So I did ask him whether he minded if I take photos. So yeah, it's next to just other shops. There's a card shop next door, and yeah, there he is. Okay, so there's the guy. His name's Mark. He's very friendly. He's a nice guy. I was saying when I made the video about the 3 record shops that sell new records that I visited in Nottingham a few days ago, that the sort of there's no sort of rapport, there's no sort of friendliness and warmth from the people who are really serving there. But when you've got somebody who owns the shop, like a record shop, and you go in, 9 times out of 10 you get a good welcome. You get into conversation, and I did get into conversation with him about various things. So that was quite nice. There's the personal touch. And I was keen to buy something. I didn't want to go in there and buy nothing, which frankly is always going to be possible because I said I'm looking mainly for classical, but I also buy some pop and rock. So he said that they haven't got much. He hasn't got much classical, and he pointed to a spot on the floor, and he said they're all box sets priced at £5 each. Well, that didn't sound very promising, and I kind of said so. I said I don't really tend to buy box sets. And he said, "Well, go and have a look. You might be pleasantly surprised." I did have a look, and I wasn't pleasantly surprised. I was indifferent because, I mean, okay, I mean, look, he didn't have anything that was remotely interesting in box sets, and they didn't look like they were in very good condition either. In fact, I took a picture of them, as you'll see. Uh, yeah, so it's not the best organized of shops. There's a £5 section, but most of the records, the prices are mixed. You can go into one section and find them at £5, £10, 15, 20. Most of the records on the walls are interesting collectibles like jazz, Queen. I found 2 copies of Wish You Were Here, and there's Supertramp, and a lot of the interesting records are actually on the walls. So when I started looking around, and I went through a couple of hundred records and I didn't find anything at all. I suddenly looked at the wall and realized, oh, most of the interesting records are here, and I started going through them, and I saw jazz, and I picked up jazz and had a look at it. I think it was about £25 or something, and I wasn't really happy. I thought it was too much money, so I just put it back. I didn't even bother checking the condition. I found two copies of Wish You Were Here, and he said to me one is £20, one is £30 because of condition. I checked the condition of one of them, and I'm not sure which one it was, but I only checked the condition of one. It was inadequate. There were too many marks on it to warrant me buying it for 20 or 30. So I just put that back, and then I decided to start going through the racks and to see if I could find something interesting. Nothing's organized, no alphabetical sorting. You just go through them and you just see what, yeah, okay. So these are all the box sets that he's selling for £5 each. And honestly, there was just nothing there. They're mostly fairly dusty looking opera sets, etc. And just, nothing that was remotely interesting to me there. They were very dusty, actually. Actually, he joked that he puts them there to keep the draft coming through the back. Fair enough. I suppose it's one use for them. Let's just keep going. Okay, so I did have a quick flick through those. I did find 1 or 2 single items, but again, there was just really nothing of any interest. All the singles are on the floor, and yeah, I mean, in a way, it not being organized makes it more interesting because you're always thinking that you're going to come across something which is going to be a bit unusual. There's a feeling in here that there's a bit of a thrill of the hunt, that you might find a bargain. And I did find something worth buying, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Okay, so yes, just going on with my commentary on the visit to the shop. Um, it was a very cold day. The door was open and there was no heating inside. Uh, my fingers were really cold while I was browsing in the shop. I just add this because obviously if you're going to visit in the spring or the summer, that won't be a problem. But if you're going to visit in the winter, then you probably wouldn't last more than about 10 or 15 minutes in there. I was actually in there for at least 30 minutes or more because I wanted to get through as many records as possible. When I initially went in and I introduced myself and I started browsing, I asked the owner how are the records organized. Well, they're not organized at all, really. There are £5 records here and there are £10 records, and etc. So I just really started browsing through. He pointed to a country and western section. However, he seemed to have a lot of country and western in one section, and I avoided those. So I started going through, and I must have been about 15 minutes in there, and I honestly hadn't found one single record. I did find a copy of The Pretenders. I've been dreaming about finding The Pretenders because I quite like them. The track Brass in Pocket and some of the other great singles from The Pretenders. I really wanted to have the album with that particular song on it. I found that album. It was £5 and I thought, great, it's been worth coming for this alone. However, I popped it out of its jacket and the sleeve. One side was in excellent condition and the other side had a scratch, a definite scratch going across one whole track. So unfortunately, I didn't buy that. And there were quite a few others that I didn't buy because, obviously the condition just wasn't good enough for my own requirements. I kept going, however, and persevered. There was a moment when I thought, oh, I'm getting weary. I'm just going to walk out of the shop and say, thank you. I'll see you again another day. However, I suddenly found a record that I'm interested in, and that changed everything. So let's just go through the records as I bought because it's quite amazing. All right, you'll be really surprised to see this. Of course, I didn't buy any classical, I might say. So yeah, there's no classical. So there we are, ABBA Greatest Hits. I bet you can't believe that I bought that. I've actually been looking for that in good condition for quite a while, and I got this for a fiver today, and it is in excellent condition. It's a fabulous gatefold, and it's in really superb condition. So just for that alone, I was pleased that I went into that shop. £5 I got that for. So yep, that was great. And then amazingly, 2 minutes later, I found this ABBA Arrival. Yeah, I thought, I don't believe it. Another ABBA record. I've only got one ABBA record at the moment in my collection, and that's Super Trooper. So yeah, so now I've got ABBA Greatest Hits. I've got ABBA Arrival, and yeah, really delighted with that. £5 in superb condition as well. It's really difficult to find ABBA records in decent condition because they've been so heavily played. But yeah, really delighted. And yeah, sorry. The album that I've got is Voulez-Vous, not Super Trooper. Yeah. So the third record I bought from this shop was Super Trooper. £5 again, brilliant condition. The record's superb. So is the jacket. Now I appreciate I could buy these on eBay for, I don't know, in this kind of condition I would expect to pay at least £10 for these, and then maybe shipping as well. So I think at a fiver each I did really well. And I wanted to buy one more record. I wanted to make it four for £20, and this was the hardest one to find. So I spent about another 15 minutes trying to find another record to buy. Found quite a few albums that were just not in good enough condition. So what did I find that? Let's see now. I mentioned "Wish You Were Here." Yeah, that wasn't in good enough condition. There was an Ultravox album that wasn't in good enough condition. There were several actually that I tried and they just weren't good enough. So I kept going. I was lucky with the ABBA albums, and I actually saw this one shortly after I saw the ABBA albums, but it wasn't in good condition. And then I found another copy, and this one is in excellent condition, £5. We Two Are One, Eurythmics. I haven't got any other Eurythmics albums. This is a kind of quite a cool record from the early 80s. Annie Lennox at her best, and I don't know the music on it, but I know of the Eurythmics and I like some of their music, so I decided to have a flyer at this, and for £5 in superb condition, I just thought it was worth going for. And what's inside? Oh, the record's not in the sleeve. I think that's probably because when I checked the condition, I put it back and did not get it back into the sleeve. Yeah, so there are all the lyrics. That's all the paperwork's in superb condition. So yeah, I got 4 records, which I was really pleased with. Now, a word of warning, Mark of a Vinyl Destination, he's the owner. He only takes cash, so make sure you go in with cash. I didn't have any cash on me. I had to ask for a cash till, so I went to a cash till and managed to sort out payment and everything. £20 for those 4 records. I understand from some of the reviews that I've read on the internet that he will discount if you buy quite a lot. So I didn't expect to get a discount on 4 records for a fiver. Definitely not. But if I was maybe spending £100 and buying some expensive records, I would have been negotiating with him. So I would recommend this shop to go to. It's a bit of a sort of Aladdin's cave because everything's mixed in. There's always the feeling that you could find what you're looking for. It's like if I go into a record shop and I want to buy, say, a Queen album, and I go to Q and I go through, there's nothing there, or there's nothing there I'm interested in. Well, that's the end. That's the end of it, isn't it? But with this shop, there's always the feeling that you might just see it. It might just be there, like with that Pretenders album. My eyes nearly popped out when I saw it. Sadly, it wasn't in good condition, but I like the sort of Aladdin's cave feel to a record shop where you're out there hunting and the unexpected can always turn up. And really, he's got a lot of records at a fiver, and I suppose that it's a good price for a lot of them. Obviously, a lot of them you definitely wouldn't want to pay a fiver for, and there were lots of records there, like I don't know, um, Barbara Dixon, and I mean lots of kind of repertoire that you wouldn't really pay a fiver for. You can see Barbara Dixon in charity shops all day long for £1 each. So, but you're looking. There are fortunately so many records in there that you will be able to find something that is of interest to you. And like me, I'm not even a big pop and rock fan, and yet I walked out with 4 records. So my field of interest in pop and rock is actually quite limited. But for people who are only interested in pop and rock, they could probably walk out with £100 worth. What else to say? No, that's it. So yeah, positive review for that shop, just with the only qualification, cash only, no heating in the shop. It was cold. Um, Nothing's organized, but I mean, that's a plus. It can be a plus, it can be a negative. Uh, no classical to speak of. So apart from those dusty box sets at £5 each, which I wouldn't even pay £1 each for them, but somebody might. So for classical, it's a complete write-off in a way, just like all the other shops I've seen. Fortunately, I've got other interests, and I did find it worthwhile going in. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.